Hold on, back on my bullshit. These niggas been hitting, get hit with a full clip. They say they don't like me, they want me to hit them with something so shiesty.
What's going on, guys? It's the king of 161st Street. I'm back with another video, and I am with my man from the Bronx Zoo, back again. What's going on, man?
What's up, TJ? How we doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Especially after the past 2 days. I mean, I wasn't really gonna talk with you much about like the Yankees over the past like month because it's just been the same story. But now with these past 2 wins, I want your opinion. What do you think about last night's win?
The biggest win of the year so far. I thought that Benintendi's secretly been a key to the last 2 wins, obviously with the home run, but last night, him on the base paths, it was a solid win against the second greatest pitcher in baseball, Max Scherzer, and now we don't have to face the greatest pitcher in baseball with Jacob deGrom. So it was a solid game, a well-needed game. I was worried that if we lost the first game against the Mets, that would just have bad movement and lead maybe to a second loss. I believe every game, but I think it would have just hurt the morale. So the fact that we won the first game just has me completely confident we're going to win the second, especially without deGrom. Pitching looks sharp with Cortez and Herman. So, without Severino, we're piecing it together. I think Severino is the second best pitcher on the team still. Yeah. So I really hope that he comes back soon. And then don't forget, our trade deadline piece, bat is going to end up being Giancarlo Stanton. Comes back on Wednesday. Rizzo is really the one who's had to face the brunt of not having Stanton because he's the protection for Rizzo. Rizzo turned into the sole protection for Judge. So at the end of the day, I think Stanton's the key to this team winning right now, long term. And shout out DJ LeMahieu because the guy's doing what he does. Nonstop and never gets enough credit. And he has been, I think he raised his average from 260 to 280 in a span of 3 weeks. This late into the season's pretty impressive. Yeah, man. It's
I was in a Twitter space last night and I had people in there. I think these are the same people that usually say when this 3-week stretch started, it's oh, season's done. Astros in 4. This Yankees team can't do it. And I'm in there. They're don't overstate what this win does. All this is to get Mets fans off our back. I feel like this win was, like you said, the most important win of the year. Absolutely. Doing it against a guy, not just one of the greatest pitchers in baseball, but one of the better pitchers in baseball history.
Yep. Absolutely.
First ballot Hall of Famer, and a guy that's already beat you this season.
And arguably his most dominant performance of the year. So I think that the people saying that the season's over after 3 weeks, can you imagine? We started this off slowly. It just makes zero sense to me. You're going to have a down stretch, especially when you lose Michael King, Luis Severino, Giancarlo Stanton. Everyone's oh, we shouldn't have given Montgomery away. We shouldn't have given Joey Gallo away. But Joey Gallo was
he's an abomination.
Useless to the lineup. And I wouldn't say it when he was on the team, but he was as useless to the lineup as maybe anyone has ever been on the Yankees. Yeah. He was never going to figure it out here.
He had the lowest batting average of anyone through 200 plate appearances in Yankees history.
Yeah. And then Montgomery, everyone's acting like they're the biggest Montgomery fans now. Nah. The guy was not going to be, he was a good pitcher for us, but he was not going to be a playoff piece. Well, he was going to be moved to the bullpen. Yeah. And at that point, we have Aroldis Chapman as our lefty guy, lefty specialist, and Wandy, and Marinaccio. Right? No, not Marinaccio.
Yeah, Marinacccio's there.
Yeah, Marinaccio. I'm thinking Zach Britton. When's Zach Britton coming back?
I think he's starting a rehab assignment.
Yeah. So if he comes back, I think it could be dominant. So Montgomery is going to be your 4th bullpen arm? It makes sense.
Yeah, look, the main thing here is also the fact that we've been struggling, and now to dominate against a guy like Max Scherzer, have Domingo Germán out-pitch Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
How does this not add confidence to this locker room?
I know. 6 1/3 against a Scherzer. I think Scherzer went 6 2/3, but they were keeping him in because he's Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Realistically, probably should have been taken out early
After
on.
the fourth run, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it changes the whole wavelength, and I mean, you have the new guys up. I think Florio may be sent down for Stanton, but I think Cabrera is making an impact subtly. I think he's dazzling with the glove, and I think that he brings a new sense of style and like a little bit of a heartbeat. Like seeing the young guys up, it reminds us of when like Sanchez and Judge came up. Like people like the young kids coming up through the system, and I can't imagine when Volpe comes up how energized everyone will be. But it's just a good start, and then you have Stanton coming back, and I mean, going to Oakland, that should be an easy 3-game sweep.
I think we have 4 games in Oakland, 3 games in Los Angeles, and then we play Tampa.
I think the 4 games against Oakland, easy 3 to 4 sweep. Then LA, I still wouldn't count out. You got Ohtani and Trout on that team. You're still gonna have some good baseball, but we tend to do well on West Coast trips, and I think that the way that the West Coast has played this year, especially the Athletics and the Angels, I think that this can help get us back with a nice little streak. And yeah, people will say, "Oh, you're not playing the best teams in baseball," but we beat 2 against the Mets. Who's going to say anything, right? So,
and I mean, to people say that, look at our record against the AL East. Even with our struggles, we're still the best. We have the best record against our division.
The best
we have
division
the best division in baseball.
Best division in baseball. I mean, they really want to say that the NL East is the best division of baseball. Yeah, you got the Braves, you got the Phillies, but you have complete 2 washes with the Marlins and the Nationals.
Nationals just gave up, and the Marlins gave up 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, like we have the Baltimore was supposed to be a team that was giving up, and they have over 60 wins now.
I mean, yeah, it's not. This is the toughest division to play in baseball. It's not even close.
Yeah, and I think that this win, coming in the way it did, having also offensive outbursts by Benintendi, and having people step up.
Yep.
This is definitely a locker room galvanizer. I don't think we can overstate how much this win could do for this team. It could not do anything, but I'd rather look on the bright side. This locker room seems like it's one of those locker rooms that they come together, especially when things are high, and this team seems like they're heading in the right direction after a terrible month.
And Rizzo showing that fire on the field last night couldn't have been better.
Oh man,
it was awesome. It was awesome. And I mean, the win against Donaldson the other day, the grand slam. I mean, that was big. I mean, that was crucial. And I mean, we were there. We had a great time.
That's a good segue back to what I was going to talk about. That was an amazing scene outside of Yankee Stadium.
Crazy.
With the Bronx Zoo. I was right outside. I told my friends, because we were watching the game, I was like, you know what? We're gonna go to the other side of the stadium. We're gonna see if these guys are out there. And you were already mobbed. And I think that was part of when you started crowd surfing a little bit.
Yeah.
It was the craziest scene. And how does it feel that you have become a staple in Yankee fandom, where after a game, especially a huge win, they know go outside of gate 4, because the Bronx Zoo is out there with
gate 6.
Gate 6. Go outside of gate 6, because the camera and the light.
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal. I mean, I started this almost a year ago to the day now, and I remember being out there for the first time, and people were receptive. They were great, but to see where it was the other night was just so mind-boggling. And to go home, I didn't go to bed till around 7:30 in the morning. I ended up getting home around 3, editing to get that up, because I needed to get it up. I knew that had to go up instantly and make something energized out of it, like a really good piece. And I mean, when I got picked up in that moment and I looked around and saw what was happening, I was like, this is incredible. This is what I've seen for, the Yankees. And there's other people out there. Sometimes you'll see other people with the cameras now at Yankee Stadium. And I just know that they see what we do. And
they're following in your footsteps.
And that's fine. But there's only one Bronx Zoo, right? I mean, like, I'm not saying that because, come talk to me. It's just what we've created. It's not just about me. It's about us. And we're the one show I think that people know now that is for the New York Yankee fans. Every other brand will go talk to other teams and all this stuff, but we are the Yankees fan. And like, when people ask, where do I want to take this? I want to be the face of Yankee fandom fans. I want the zoo to be like, I want everyone to refer to Yankee fans as the Bronx Zoo. That's my goal.
You're on a great path, especially with how that scene was the other night. It was absolutely insane. And I know you've been campaigning to be on Yes Network, and I think that would be a huge acquisition for them, knowing that Yes Network they've sort of been cookie cutter for the past decade. The batting practice show, pregame, they have the Bronx Zoo talking with some of the fans about their opinions on things. It could really change up a lot in their for their channel. I know they brought on some of the John Boy podcast stuff.
Awesome.
And that's pretty big for the creators like us. But I really think the next one to go is you.
Thank you.
I think just the creativity of the idea.
That means a lot to me. Thank you. I love the net. I mean, I keep saying I want to be on the network because I'm a fan of the network. Even the batting, all that stuff, batting practice show. I like what they do, and I want to contribute as much as I can to Yankee fans. And I know when people ask, why people were coming up to me last night, you belong on ESPN, all this stuff, and look, I'm always open to every opportunity. And like you said with John Boy, they've done an incredible job with their brand. Yeah. And I always say we are the first of its kind baseball fan show. And the Yes Network is our market, right? Yeah. So I want people, I think it would be just so phenomenal. And yes, we push boundaries sometimes with my questions. I'm not going to be, asking some stuff if we're partnered up with them. And I think that sometimes what gets lost in translation is how big of a Yankee fan I actually am and some of the knowledge that I hold. Because a lot of our stuff that goes big is, some
of the weirder questions like
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I have an extreme source of knowledge within my brain about the Yankees. Like I'm a fan first. So, and the opportunities are endless. The potential is to the sky. And I just really think that the Bronx Zoo is still in its beginning stages, because I think that there's so much more that can be done.
I mean, look, you were bringing up ESPN, another segue into what I was talking about, what I want to talk about here. So one of the things you said last time we talked was that one of your biggest goals is to grow the game of baseball. And in your opinion, what's the biggest thing that needs to change for this sport to grow?
The players need to become superstars. And I'm not just saying the players need to be stars within the sport. They need to be pop culture icons like they used to be. The Kid, Ken Griffey Jr., icon. The world knew Ken Griffey Jr. Joe DiMaggio used to be married to the most famous woman alive, Marilyn Monroe. Babe Ruth was arguably the most famous man in the country when he played baseball. There's other people I can think of, but when right now when you have the capability to take a guy like I'd say Shohei Ohtani first, because he's international and he has an amazing personality. And then you have a guy who, like Bryce Harper, who some consider to be the heel, wrestling terms. I don't see him like that. I see him as a pure superstar. But if you want to give him that brand, give him that brand. Mike Trout, I know that it's his personality talking about the weather, and you can't change what someone's into, but get Mike Trout on more magazine covers. I'm talking, Sports Illustrated, GQ. Like, he is the greatest player of the last 25 years, and you don't see him anywhere. You don't see. I can't recall seeing Mike Trout on Jimmy Fallon. I can't recall seeing Bryce Harper, pop in on Saturday Night Live. I remember back in the day, Derek Jeter did SNL, and then he brought David Cohn and David Wells with him. So it's things like that people don't think of. But, you go on social media, you know what LeBron James is wearing before the game. You know what Tom Brady's doing on that boat when he wins the trophy. We need baseball players to be brought into the conversation of pop culture, not just about baseball and the marketing itself.
That's perfect. I have two things that's the grander scheme. I think looking deeper into it, we need like national TV talking heads. They need to try harder when they talk about baseball, because like Stephen A with his Yankees rant, you can't,
It's ridiculous.
you can't go in there and just talk out of your ass for baseball alone, blaming Aaron Judge for the Yankee struggles and claiming that Hank Steinbrenner is still alive.
It was bad.
It seems like they try with every other sport. You're not seeing him make that mistake with Hank Steinbrenner when it comes to a basketball organization. You're not seeing that when it comes to football. Baseball, it doesn't seem like he tries. And these talking heads, they never try when it comes to baseball.
Even sports.
Shohei Ohtani can't be the face of baseball because he doesn't speak English. That might mean he could be the face of baseball around the world because he doesn't speak English. English is only like 20% of the languages around the world. Spanish is the biggest. These talking heads have to at least try when it comes to talking baseball. And that's where, like, everyone knows Skip Bayless doesn't like LeBron James. These talking heads talking about him day in and day out, that's how these players get known.
Yep.
When the talking heads are just talking out of their ass the whole time, and then baseball fans are saying they don't know what they're talking about, now fans trying to get into baseball are like, how do I get to know these players? Because they're not going to MLB Network right away. They're going to be going to ESPN, Fox Sports. None of these guys know how to talk the game.
Yeah.
And the media needs to definitely step up their game when it comes to talking baseball. And then another thing is trying to get the minor leagues more hyped up. One of the bigger things about basketball and football is the draft. Seeing how these rookies are going to end up, the rookies that could save the franchise. Baseball doesn't have that because they get drafted, yay, see them in 5 years.
Yeah.
Half a decade later, now look who it is. All of a sudden, this guy comes up.
Yeah.
If we start promoting the minor leagues almost to the level that we promote the rookies in football or basketball, that's where these guys get to grow up with these players.
Or even like a guy like, I think Ken Griffey, I think A-Rod, Soto, Vlad Jr., Harper. Like
exactly.
they should have from the very beginning. Harper was that attention. Yeah. I think when he went to Philadelphia, it kind of went astray. But I think if he wins a World Series, he's still going to be a guy they consider maybe the face of baseball again. If he wins a World Series, because he was the face of baseball when I was 12 because of what he was doing as a teenager and gets brought up right away. Yeah. And, same with Vladdy Jr. Vladdy Jr., they should have, I feel like he's one of the greatest hitters of the past decade for sure. And maybe the last 20 years. And he's at the top of his game and he's so young. We need to utilize that. And he's been in the league since he was 19?
Yeah. I think just promoting the young players would help the promotion of baseball a ton. Yeah. Because the young players are what's going to move this game forward.
Yeah.
The Vlad Juniors of the world, the Ronald Acuñas of the world. These are the guys who are going to move this game forward because they know how to connect to the youth. And I know most of the talking heads in baseball hate this youth movement. But when they're gone, they're not going to have a sport if we continue to go with the path of like back in the 80s and the 90s where like players can't have style, players can't do this, players can't flip the bat or whatever. these younger players and the younger way of doing things is what's going to keep this sport alive. And I'm not one of those people who thinks the sport is in fact dying at this point. It's not dying, but
I think if anything, it's actually on the rise again. We just got to capitalize.
It's growing again, but exactly. You don't capitalize on this moment, it's going back on the dip. And
yeah, I mean, you just gotta keep doing it. I mean, they started the slogan with the let the kids play, which was great, and they're letting the kids play. And like I said, I just think it all revolves around marketing and getting them back onto the main stage. So
definitely.
Hopefully, it just keeps happening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how baseball goes about promoting these players, because for the past 20 years it's been a struggle to try and get these players in the limelight.
No.
Like,
they all can't be Derek Jeter. For
prime example, Mike Trout. There's no reason Mike Trout should not be on the same level, or at least a little below an area of LeBron James. Yeah. Just how dominant of a force he's been. Yeah. And I know he doesn't talk, and that might be part of his problem, but
you also need him in the playoffs and the World Series, and that's not happening.
And I guess that's part of the problem with baseball too, is you could have your best players of all time, and they can only make the playoffs once.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Trout and Ohtani, I mean, it's absolutely a shame that we're not getting them in October. And I think that the Angels really need to just put together a winning team or let them go.
Well, the news today that came out could change their direction completely, as their owner is looking to now sell the team. And this owner has refused to put money together unless it's for Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, or Anthony Rendon. This owner has refused to put money into the starting rotation. He has refused to build a team that's competitive. Seems like he only cared about the bottom dollar. And, you know, it's a good day in baseball that this guy is probably going to be gone.
I will say, when they went and got Rendon, that was a great move. It just didn't work out. And that kind of happens with Hamilton and CJ Wilson.
Yeah, they made some moves that it looked like they were heading in the right direction, but it didn't look like they were building a team. It looked like they were building marketability. Shohei Ohtani, jersey sales going up. But one player is not in baseball. You can't win with one player. Anthony Rendon, and then yes, the Albert Pujols contract didn't work. That hindered them a little bit. Josh Hamilton, etc. But this guy just refused to put money into the pitching staff of that team, and it's a damn shame that they've wasted, and they're probably going to waste, Mike Trout's whole career. And he's only going to get maybe one or two playoff appearances. To me, that's a disgrace that our best
Mike
player.
Trout to the Phillies. I think Harper and Mike Trout in an outfield together would be one of the most interesting things of all time.
It would be the most interesting thing. Quiet guy with one of the most loud guys in baseball. That's
two best players, arguably the two of the three best players in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, you got some arguments with Ohtani up there now. Ronald when he's healthy.
Yeah, and Soto,
yes.
I think Trout and Harper have been kind of like that A-Rod Jeter without any
just without the animosity.
For since they came into the league, they were all together same year. So I think they'd actually be a good combination.
Yeah, it actually does seem interesting. I mean, hey, Hal, if you're willing to spend some money, get some trade packages set up. I don't know.
Mike Trout has a team-friendly deal even with the injuries. So
he's one of a kind. He's definitely trying to stay loyal to that team. When I think, in the words of Derek Jeter, when loyalty is a one-way street, it's called stupidity. And I think that's sort of the area where Mike Trout has been in, where the loyalty has only been one way. They have not been loyal to him wanting to win. Loyalty has to go both ways. And so hopefully at some point the Angels can pick it up or get him the hell out of town, because he deserves it. He deserves
the ring. He deserves a ring for sure.
All right, man. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for
absolutely
coming on. Guys, like, subscribe. I'll put his information in the link down below.
Bronx,
And
baby.
yep, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks.